Evening, everyone. Welcome to the Select Board meeting. Today is Tuesday, May 5th, 2026. This meeting hearing of the Ayer Select Board will be held in person at the location provided on this notice. Members of the public are welcome to attend this in-person meeting. Please note that while an option for remote attendance and/or participation via Zoom is being provided as a courtesy to the public, the meeting hearing will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast unless otherwise required by law. Members of the public with a particular interest in a specific item on this agenda should make plans for in-person versus virtual attendance accordingly. This meeting will be live on Zoom in Channel 8. The public may access the proceedings by joining Zoom, meeting ID number 978-772-8220, or by calling 929-205-6099. For additional information about remote participation, please contact Carly Antonellis, Assistant Town Manager at atm@ayer.ma.us or 978-772-8220, extension 100, prior to the meeting. And with that, if I could ask everyone to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Where's the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Any amendments to the agenda?
I have none.
Make a motion that the board approve the agenda as presented.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair says aye. The agenda is approved. All right. We have two announcements. One is the annual town election is on Tuesday, May 12th, and the hours of, what are the hours?
7 a.m. to 8 p.m.
7 a.m. to 8 p.m. at the Great Hall. Okay? All right. And then Ayer Memorial Day, Remember and Honor Events 2026. On Saturday, May 9th, the veterans will meet at Woodlawn Cemetery, thank you very much, at 9 a.m. to place flags on veterans' graves and then continue on to St. Mary's. On Monday, May 25th, the Memorial Day service starts at 8:30 a.m. at Woodlawn Cemetery. Then we'll go to St. Mary's Cemetery at 9. The Memorial Day parade will start at 10 a.m. starting from St. Mary's Church, 29 Shirley Street, proceeding to Town Hall, 1 Main Street for Memorial Day ceremony. If you plan to march in the parade, please meet at St. Mary's at 9:30 a.m. For additional information, please contact Steve at the American Legion post number 139 at 978-501-6916. Okay. Anyone here for public input? Dan, are you raising your hand?
Sorry, no. There's someone walking by.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, seeing there's none. Dan Van
right.
Schalwick meeting with us on Zoom.
Yeah, thank you for letting me use the Zoom platform tonight. Appreciate it. Baseball's in full swing, so no pun intended. Director report. So a few business items and then an update at the very end on Main Street. So the first item is execution of a contract. This is for our annual water main replacements, and we also consider drainage as well when we're doing these corridors. So this area we're doing is Grove Street, Church Street, Elm, and a portion of Forest in the neighborhood over there. Replacement of old water mains. And so without reading through the whole agenda that I put together in the packet, CHB was our low bidder, and we recommend moving forward with them at the base bid of $489 and $90, also including the ad alternate of $39,270. And so this comes from our water main budget and stormwater budgets, so we got the funds to do it.
Any questions?
Nope. Make a motion that the board vote to execute the contract for the 2026 water main and drainage improvements project in the amount of $528,360 for signature by the board.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And chair says aye. And that was approved.
Okay, the second item is on Mill Street, the drainage improvement project that they're currently working on. The project came in under budget, so we had them do a little extra drainage work. So that's what this item's for. It's 75 feet of drainage pipe and an additional catch basin for a change order of 18,232. They are probably a week or two away from substantial completion. They're moving pretty quick, as we kind of expected they would on that project, which is good. So that's item 2.
Any questions?
No?
Nope.
Make a motion that the board vote to approve change order number 1 for the Mill Street Drainage Improvements Project in the amount of $18,232 for signature by the chair.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair says aye. Next.
Okay. Next, the last business item before we get into an update is change order 4 over at Grove on the Clearwell project, the water treatment and PFAS system improvements, it's formally called. So this was we had to make some changes as we were doing the work to get the backwash to be most efficient. Per how it was designed wasn't the best, so we did actually work with our consultant to absorb some of that. Now this is being paid from the Army grant as well. There are some additional items and credits in there as well. And being a large project, it is a large change order in $352,319.57. But that project I expect to be substantially complete by the end of next month before we get into the high demand season. And so that's recommended for approval.
Any questions?
No.
Nope.
Alright. Make a motion that the board vote to approve change order number 4 for the Grove Pond WTP PFAS System Improvements Project in the amount of $352,319.57 for signature by the chair.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And chair says aye.
Okay, great. The last item is I want to provide an update on the Main Street TIP Transportation Improvement Project. That's our reconstruction of Main Street from Columbia Road to Park Street, essentially. It's a little bit further than that, but roughly in that corridor. So Robert's office did receive a letter from the MPO, from MRPC, and they actually met with myself and Matt Hearn and the town engineer to give us an update. And I think, a lot of us are feeling this in our lives, and it's happening all across the board, but project increases in costs in general for everything. And so across our region, and not just our region, others as well, they are seeing project costs go up 50%. We're not about 50% across our region on every project just due to inflation, tariffs. Some are scope increases as well as we get more into design. And so right now there were 10 projects on are programmed right now in our region for the TIP projects, one of them being Ayers. And 9 of those 10 have been moved forward to a future year, including Ayers. Well, shouldn't say it's been moved. It's a draft TIP program right now for federal fiscal year 27 to 31. But they're proposing to move Ayers project as well as 9 others to just kick them down the road about a year. And it's really just because they don't have the money. And 2 of the projects actually got kicked off of the programming in this draft TIP form. So it's really, we can only control so much. I think we kind of just want to make you aware they're proposing to push it from federal fiscal year 29 to federal fiscal year 30 and 31, a split. So speaking with MRPC, that would mean we would start bidding in late 2029. October of 2029 would be federal fiscal year 30 when that starts. So it's not good news. I guess Matt and I both weren't totally surprised. We want to make you aware. So right now the draft TIP is out that draft TIP 2027 to 2031 is out for comment. And so you can go right on MRPC's website and anybody can send in comments, general public, and then also entities such as the select. I'll be sending something in. So I'd encourage the select board you might want to send a letter, or from Robert's office, just reinforcing how we're working hard to get this project done, and we want to get it, programmed as soon as we can. Now, a lot of times too, projects do drop off. They don't progress as fast as they should, and other projects slot in. So, ideally something like that would happen as long as we keep pushing our project. And you'll notice in the letter too here from Brian Doherty, it really wasn't our efforts that have slowed this down in that fourth paragraph he has, but it's just the funding. It's a regional issue that's going on. And we've really been making some good progress lately. We're starting to do our right-of-way process now, and our design is, our next step is design public hearing, which should occur later this year. So we're doing a good job, but I really want to make the board aware, and yeah, that's the update on the Main Street project.
Discussion?
Dan, is there any transparency on, why we got kicked down? I mean, I know you said like 9 out of 10 did, but is there kind of a priority list, or is it just that's what they decided? They do take that into account. So the way that MPO works and the projects work, they score them, and it's called a TEC score. And our project's actually tied for the highest score. And that takes into account things such as safety, the need for the improvement, the proximity to environmental justice groups, things like that. So Ayer's project is really high scoring, so it's high priority. I think it, like I was saying, it's just an across the board thing. They just can't maintain it in the program for 2029. It needs to push so they can continue to complete projects in general. The only project that stayed was the one that's scheduled for this year. So that basically had to stay, but everything else sort of pushed down. And it's, yeah, I mean, that's kind of in short, what's going on. Okay, thank you.
Yes, Robert.
Madam Chair, I would propose to the board that we prepare a letter from the Select Board for your May 19th packet, draft letter for the board to review and take up at your next meeting. I think that would be helpful. Don't you? I think you suggested that, Dan, to the MPO.
Yeah, the comment period actually ends May 15th, so we might, we probably want to get something on the books before that. So I don't know if you want to,
Maybe
if the board wants to direct your office to submit one, or how you want to do it. I mean, I'm going to submit one from us too, from Public Works.
What if we, through the chair, if you submit one and I submit one as town manager, and then we have the board send one after their meeting on May 19th? I know that's the open comment period, but I think the letter to the MPO from the board, regardless, would be helpful.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
In our draft, you could also reference the fact that, you had sent one in our letter saying that we're just kind of adding on to the letter that you sent, just to kind of reinforce that they've gotten at least 2.
Yep. Good point. Okay.
Any further discussion?
Nope. Yep. Sounds good.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Dan. Hope your team wins.
Thank you. All right, have a
Go
good
team.
night.
Bye, Dan.
Good night.
Bye.
All right, Robert.
Madam.
Excuse me, Madam Chair.
Oh, yes.
Pauline, I have 2 quick questions regarding Mr. Doherty's April 15th letter. And I don't know if you all can even clarify it, but the subject matter says Ayer roadway rehab on Route 2A 111, which I know to be Park Street and Groton Shirley Road. The body of the letter, however, refers to, quote, many projects in the region, including Main Street, will need to be shifted. So he's contradicting himself in this letter. And I guess, no, my only question is, do y'all have any clarification, or should you not ask? Because Dan just said Main Street will go forward.
Go ahead.
So, Madam Chair, through you, so on the letter, and the MPO often does this, is they intertwine. So it says Ayer roadway rehab on Route 2A 111. Though Route 2A and 111 ends for a portion of Main Street as the town, they interplay the two, so they're referring to Main Street. We can mention that to them again to sort of clarify that distinction.
So what I hear you say is the Main Street Bridge Replacement Project, we've all been gearing up for and finding new ways to work, except for me, of course.
No, not the Main Street Bridge project.
That's West Main.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I'm not questioning you, Janice. That's not how I interpret this letter, and I would respectfully ask that you ask for clarification, because we all know, having been through TIP projects before, things don't always appear as they seem. Thank you.
So, Madam Chair, on this letter, so it's referring to the Main Street, so this portion of Columbia in Main Street. It has nothing to do with West Main or the West Main Street Bridge. That project is moving forward. It's a separate project. But I will ask them to clarify, because we've dealt with this before, they use the state route and Main Street interchangeable, and it does get confusing.
Yeah, make sure your letter in our draft is like, spelled out.
Where?
Yeah.
Columbia Street too.
Right.
Yeah. Will do.
Okay. All right.
Madam Chair, members of the board, good evening. You have in your packet the warrants that were reviewed and approved since the board last met on April 21st. In terms of the administrative update, town meeting on Monday, April 27th was a success in terms of all 28 articles, including the FY27 omnibus budget passed, as did the citizens' petition. A special thanks to everyone who makes town meeting a success and for the continued support of the voters. As we look to close out FY26 by June 30th, the board has, as does the Finance Committee, the year-end spending authorization that all departments as of June 1st, anything over $1,000 requires pre-approval. That policy we've done for several years has worked well in closing out the fiscal year. As I mentioned previous, and I've mentioned to the chair of the Finance Committee, on the reserve fund transfer front, we are going to need a reserve fund transfer for the assessing department due to their software conversion, the IT department, and maybe town council. We've got 3 more months to go. We may squeak that one by, but we will keep the board updated and be coming to you most likely the first meeting in June with the RFTs and then with the Finance Committee. Also related to that, the DPW director and I will be coming before you shortly before the end of the fiscal year for the select board to authorize some deficit snow and ice spending. We've done this before, many cities and towns do. We haven't had to in a while, but there is a small deficit, which under state law, with the select board's authorization, we can deficit spend, and it just made up next year. It hits the free cash. So that's sort of a coming attraction on that front. And then looking ahead, it is take things one day at a time, but for FY27 and beyond, there are some active things that we're closely monitoring that may have impacts on FY27, which was just approved and beyond. And specifically, that's the energy fuel situation. Up until February 28th, fuel and energy was actually the saving grace of inflation. Then the situation in the Middle East has changed all of that. And as the board is aware, when we came before you, as well as the Finance Committee, towards the end of the budget process, we did make some modest adjustments to energy and fuel, taking into account what is happening in the Middle East. We're concerned about that situation as to what that's going to mean for energy and fuel costs. The assistant town manager and I recently met with our representatives from the municipal aggregation program that this board approved for the residents. They're closely monitoring for the most competitive rate, and we're going to check in with them in June and then coming to the board very shortly with a recommendation on those rates. The facilities director is monitoring almost daily. Constellation is our energy provider for the town on the electric rates, and has been in contact with DPW as well. So I just wanted to bring that up as we move into the next budget and beyond, that the issue of energy and fuel unfortunately is a wild card to some extent. Then related to that will be the economic impacts of energy costs, and then the issue of health insurance and the school funding remain real issues as we move forward. And I have proposed that after the Ayer Shirley Regional School District gets through the Shirley Town meeting, that all three entities, the schools and the two towns, begin to discuss sooner than later the plan for next year. It's unfortunate. It'd be great if these issues could get resolved, but this one, there's some work to be done. Lastly, in terms of coming attractions, we're in the process, the assistant town manager of the reappointments process, so they'll be contacting everybody to see if incumbents want to be reappointed. We'll be pushing vacancies, and as we do in the past, we look to have the board do the appointments, the two meetings in June. On June 16th, your June 16th meeting, the water and sewer superintendent, was before you with a suggestion changes to the water regulations that require a public hearing, and she's proposing and asked that the board consider doing that on June 16th. Those we would advertise that in accordance to the procedure and take that up on June 16th. And I think that's it under the administrative update, if there are any questions from the board. And then I just have one other item. I don't have any action items tonight, which is rare, but I did want to update the board on the Parks Department transition sort of update. And the Parks Department is in a period of critical transition, I will call it. The Assistant Parks position has been vacant for some time. We had advertised that position, had some candidates. We're about to start that process, and at that time, the Parks Director announced her resignation on April 16th, so we sort of switched gears and began advertising for the Parks Director position on April 17th with a preferred deadline of May 1st. The thought process being, of course, we should have a director in place that is involved in the assistant director decision. The encouraging news is the preferential deadline for the Parks Director was May 1st, and as of May 1st, we have 9 applicants. The screening committee had an initial meeting today to discuss interviews in that process moving forward. And just for public benefit, the way that process has worked is the screening committee has always done an initial screen and interview of candidates, and then has recommended a finalist or finalists to the Parks Commission. The Parks Commission has done an interview and then they have made a recommendation to the town manager for the appointment, which I've always deferred to the Parks Commission's input and brought that appointment before you. The good news is we do have some applicants. The challenge obviously is the timeline in the process. We're trying to move it as quickly as we can. So that brings up the reality that as of Friday, there is no full-time dedicated professional presence down at the Parks Department, and it could not happen in terms of timing at a worse time of year with all the sports starting up at Peroni Park and trying to get things ready for the beach. So I am in the process of preparing an interim appointment, which as town manager I could do for the next 30 to 45 days, an interim to bridge this gap. We do need to have, it's not going to be a full director, but we do need to have a full time presence down there while we get the interview process completed and get a permanent director. If it was in the winter or a different time of year, we may be able to skate by, no pun intended, but I think that the interim plan to bridge that makes important sense. The other issue related to the parks that I wanted the board to be aware of has to do with Sandy Pond Beach. So we began advertising for lifeguards, waterfront director, gate attendants, actually in February. In the end of March or April, the benefits and payroll director and the parks director at the time had a table up at the high school during lunch trying to get lifeguards. And getting lifeguards is a challenge, and it's not just for Ayer. We've talked to a lot of the neighboring areas because sometimes we see if they have folks. And as of right now, we only have 3 lifeguards, and based on the staffing required to keep the level of service at the beach open that everybody is used to, we need a minimum of 11. Ideally, I would say 15 if we had some substitutes or so forth. We're going to continue to make a push on that. One of the things is on April 16th, the Parks Commission did vote that the opening day is going to be on Monday, June 23rd, which is the last day of school for this year, and it will close on Sunday, August 23rd before school starts. So historically, it would open on Memorial Day weekend and be open on the weekends leading up to the last day of school. The commission's feeling on that was based on not just this staffing challenge, but in years past on attendance, they wanted to try this new schedule, which is their purview. You will see in the promotions of it, we don't have the times yet because the times are going to determine on the staffing levels. You need to be 16 years old, be available to work some weekends or part of the weekends. You get your Red Cross certification and we reimburse you for that. So I just wanted to use a shout out on that we really need lifeguards, because the reality is the hours of operation will be contingent on the certified lifeguard staffing. The commission, I did meet with them, and it would be great to keep the same level of service open. If we don't have enough lifeguards, depending on what we have, we may have to reduce the hours. And if we don't, if things stay at 3 lifeguards, we're not going to be able to open the beach. And I just want to say, people often say all the time, well, it should be swim at risk, swim at your own risk. Not only as the town manager, but you could talk to the previous parks directors, if anyone, that's just not a viable option for the town. It's not in the public safety interest of anyone involved from a liability point of view. So I just wanted to put that out there to stress. We still have some time, and we're trying to put together a plan, but we do need lifeguards. And the last 2 quick things, the Sandy Pond Beach House project. The DPW director and I are working on that at this point. The designer has been selected. We need to get the design done. Once the design is done, we'll have the plans, which we can then approach the Neshoba Valley Technical High School, which is and they're waiting for the plans to see if there's a partnership that we can do there to get the costs down from the 1.2 million. There is also no appropriation as of this time, as capital wants a full plan. So we are hoping to revisit this for the fall town meeting. And then lastly, the 71 Sandy Pond Road study report. At your May 19th meeting, we will present the report. It will be in your packet, actually, so you'll have that. And then there's just a brief overview presentation of the findings and recommendations. And I think the working group over the last almost 2 years has done a great job with that. So that's what I have this evening. If there are any questions from members of the board, otherwise I thank you for your time this evening.
So who is the contact person if anyone's interested in applying for lifeguards or aid attendants?
So I'm glad that you brought that up. So the advertisements are out there. What we will do tomorrow is Amanda Lewis, who's the benefits and payroll manager, will put her contact information. So people should send information to her. They can send it to my office. We'll make sure she gets it. But we'll revise the postings tomorrow. I talked to Amanda before this meeting. She's well versed on what needs to happen, so that's the place. And at this point, it doesn't have to be a full-time commitment. If it's part-time, we need lifeguards. I also think it's a great opportunity for young people to get certified. The pay is, I think, competitive for a job of that nature. So we would be happy to have folks. So Amanda Lewis, benefits, payroll, town hall.
Okay. In the timeline you talked about the interim position, are you looking like in the next few days or a week?
Yes.
Or
I'm trying to work to tie up a few things, and then I will report that to the board, and I will report that on the 19th. And if things work out, they can start very soon.
Good.
So we have coverage
Yes.
there.
As you said, we have no one full-time,
Right.
and that's untenable. So
Yeah.
the faster we
Yes.
go with that, that'd be my preference.
And Selectman Tavares, if I could, just to that point, this interim effort has been in consultation with the Parks Commission chair and member there too. So it's a team effort.
Good. Plan in place. I like it.
Okay.
I was going to use some of my 3 minutes.
Okay.
But he asked my question.
Sorry. Didn't let you talk.
Where are we advertising?
So where are we advertising? So it's starting in February. It's on the town's website, town's Facebook page. The previous parks director put it in. It's the MR. That one, there's a Massachusetts Recreation Group. I had a conversation with the parks director at Devon's because they have Mirror Lake to see if there was an opportunity there. They're also struggling to get people. Bear Hill and Harvard, we've talked to them. Littleton, as I mentioned, the Parks Director also sent it to the Neshoba Valley Technical High School, a specific ad there, as well as the high school. And then Amanda and the previous director they did the lunch circuit up there to try to get kids, young folks, I should say, interested. So we're all suggestions too of this. We should reach out. I think the Groton Country Club was another one.
Thank you.
Because our goal, and I think Selectman Livingston said this last year, I mean, our ideal goal is to have the asset staffed and to be used and benefit by the public. And the only time that it closes is if the Board of Health on the algae, right? Or if there's a lightning storm. We really don't want to, that's why I bring it up tonight, it's sort of, our goal is to have it open maximum coverage, but without full coverage, we may have to reduce that. And I know we can get more than 3 lifeguards, so I'm not going to say completely close it, but the expectation is that it is open. And the only time it closes is Board of Health, which is all swimming areas and lightning. So I thank the board for your time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I know nobody had anything under new business, select board member questions, but anything come up?
No.
Nope.
Okay. Next up is the approval of the meeting minutes from April 21st. I know you weren't here, but did you notice anything spelled wrong?
No.
Okay.
That looked good to me.
Okay. I'll make a motion that the meeting minutes from Tuesday, April 21st be approved as submitted.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair says aye, the meeting minutes are approved.
And then, Madam Chair,
Yes.
I'll make a motion that the board adjourn.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair says aye. Good night, everyone.